All right. My name is Reverend Stephen Lee Williams, and I am your guest minister today. Whoever you are, whomever you love, and wherever you are on your spiritual journey and whatever your life circumstance, you are welcome here. If you're new to Hope or still feeling new, or if you just need someone to talk to, I invite you to contact Reverend Justin at the church. Hope's contact information will appear on screen at the end of today's service. To all who are here this morning, welcome home. And please join us in our hymn for gathering. I hear the flaming chalice, symbol of our living faith, burns brightly. Let us say our unison words for chalice lighting. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together. You may be seated. Our invocation today comes from the Reverend Chip Rausch and is titled Transfiguring Love. Deeper than DNA, more fundamental than molecules or quarks, at our living core we are wholeness and transfiguring love. We often forget that power, becoming lonely or resentful, comparing ourselves to others, acting out of our fears rather than our living or our glory. Occasionally we rouse from our trance to remember our wholeness, and for a time we embody unsentimental love. We make efforts to wake others and to remain fully present ourselves. Our lives and our time here together are made sacred by our striving. For the next 60 minutes and for the rest of our lives, may we be more aware of the spirit of life evolving through and among us. So may we be. Please join me in reciting our living covenant. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Please lift your voices to sing hymn number 7 in the gray hymnal, The Leaf Unfurling.
Hello, I'm Janet Nobles, longtime member, and I have a few announcements for you all. So the first thing is for Women of Hope this week, we have a special, no, next week, we have a special program. Deborah Whitaker is going to show us how to arrange flowers, and in order to do that, you need to bring kind of an oversized coffee mug would be perfect, but if you just have a little one, that's fine too. In order to help with supplies, you need to bring $3 and $2 for wine, and RSVP to Deborah so she will know how many people to anticipate, and that's on Thursday, the first Thursday of the month. And then garden party is on Saturday, and you can talk to Julia about that. And it's talk to Emily Scherer. Oh, talk to Emily Scherer about that. I think she's downstairs this morning. So anyway, she's having a garden party in order to garden, I think. And I think there's going to be hot dogs provided at noon after gardening happens. And then on Sunday, May 5th, there will be a reception held after church for Nora Potter. Nora has been a mainstay in the RE department for many, many years. And in May, she and her mom, Kate, who's also past pres, will be moving to Vermont because Kate's retiring. And we will miss her wonderful nature, and we want to send her on the road, and that will happen Sunday, May 5th after church. And then for May, Supper Club is retiring for May, but we'll be back in June. And then the final announcement is May 19th is the big hoorah, the congregational meeting, and we will elect officers and look at all our programs and talk about the budget and all that kind of stuff. So in case you need some reading material, this is available on the table when you leave after the service. And I understand that there will be some lunch at the meeting. So that's all good too. So see you the rest of this month.
Will you please join me in a spirit of prayer and meditation? And I invite you to take a deep breath, let it out, and another. Thank you, Breath of Life, for connecting us to the rhythms of the world and to each other. As we breathe in and out, may we feel the tides of our breath matching the tides of the ocean, our heartbeats, matching those tides as well. And we know that our rhythms are connected deeply to rhythms seen and unseen, heard and unheard, felt and experienced, and intuited. Connecting us to all of existence and all of humanity and all beings and all life. May we feel our connection to this hurting world. To those suffering in the Middle East, to those whose lives are threatened here at home, to those plagued by loneliness, depression, and despair, and grief. May we let that connection to suffering break us open, break our hearts open. Know that our connections are stronger for it, that we are not alone, that those across the world are not alone, that we are with them, that the love that connects us, the breaths that connect us, the rhythms that connect us, know no borders, no boundaries, no limitations of flesh. May we hold this knowing of connectedness in our hearts and in our breaths in the silence. Spinning Wyrd, A Journey Through the Nordic Mysteries by Ryan Smith, PhD. And this excerpt comes from chapter 2, Wyrd. That's spelled W-Y-R-D, not W-E-I-R-D. I'm about to tell you what that means. Now, Dr. Smith is a... We good? Okay. Bob was looking at me. It's never a good thing when the sound engineer is looking at you. Yes. Anyway, Dr. Smith, Ryan, is one of my teachers and a leader in the radical Norse pagan community, which is it stands in direct opposition to the Norse pagan community that has been appropriated by white supremacy movements. He actually spoke at an alternative spiritualities conference at Harvard Divinity School this last week about the movement for Norse pagan spiritualities as a counter movement to white supremacy, and is a wonderful speaker and teacher, and a wonderful writer, as you will hear in this excerpt. If all, this is probably better. If all of reality could be described as an endless song, then Wyrd is the tempo setting the rhythm of existence. Wyrd is often translated as the old Nordic word for fate, yet there is so much more to this beautiful system of understanding. Wyrd shapes the experiences, history, and potential facing all things in all worlds. In doing so, it binds all realms together in an endless dance of creation, change, life, and death. In modern society, fate usually has dour implications. However, Nordic Wyrd is best understood as a metaphysical force comparable to gravity or magnetism that operates in consistent patterns that are shaped by the two essential forces of Orlog and Hamingja. This stands in contrast to other models, such as the random unpredictability of the wheel of fortune, or the whims of an all-powerful, inescapable, and conscious governing force, such as you may see with the Christian concept of the will of God. Wyrd is an endlessly emergent, self-perpetuating, and organically shaped process with no single will, but is the result of the actions of all beings of every world. The two core forces driving Wyrd are Orlog and Hamingja. Orlog consists of all the existing circumstances confronting all beings in the 9 worlds. It includes everything from your present social and material conditions to inalterable facts regarding your life, such as where, when, and how, to whom you were born, and everything connected to those conditions. Hamingja represents each being's capacity to change existing Orlog. Hamingja is further broken into 2 subcomponents. Gipta, which refers to what you are given by your origins, and Gefu, which refers to your personal abilities and skills. Combined, they make your personal Hamingja, which can be changed by later actions or alterations to existing Orlog. Hamingja can even be pooled for collective efforts, creating a far greater force for change than any one participant could harness on their own. Actions and their consequences and how they change your existing conditions alters and in some cases can help create new Orlog, reshaping the parameters of existence. How significant this change is depends on what orlog is altered and how this happens, all of which is made possible through beings using their hemingya to create changes in existence. Some orlog, such as that which is related to one specific person's conditions, is easier to change than the orlog of powerful institutions that are sustained by the deliberate actions of multiple beings. Studying these interactions reveals Wyrd as an unceasing dynamic driving all of reality in constant motion. This continuous process has no specific starting point or end goal. Practically speaking, this means no one is burdened with the weight of a special purpose or goal, or role, rather. Your destiny is defined by you. What you face and how you respond to the world around you, and not by the demands of inscrutable deities or karmic debt. You may not get to choose what time you come into the world, but you can decide what you will do about it. Let me read that again. You may not get to choose the time you come into the world, but you can decide what you will do about it. Your actions can also change the world for the better in ways great and small, some of which may blossom long after you pass on. The logic of Wyrd lays bare that every action and every choice matters, giving practitioners tremendous spiritual freedom to define themselves on their terms. Under the metaphysical framework of Wyrd, there are beginnings and endings, but there is no one specific beginning or specific ending. On a more individual level, births and deaths are beginnings and endings for that aspect of a person's existence, but their influence does not cease with the end of a physical existence. It continues through the orlog that resulted from each person's deeds and through their new form of existence that results from the process of dying. Wyrd, in short, places emphasis on what your actions mean in the here and now and what consequences flow from them. Your main responsibility under Wyrd is considering the ramifications of your deeds and how they will shape the world around you. Even death, which brings a final reward or punishment in many Christian denominations, does not absolve a person of their duty to craft worthy orlog, lend their hemingya to good causes, and give their best to the Wyrd around them. Such choices will echo long after your bones have become dust and all the recollection of your deeds are lost. Even in this moment, the actions of those nameless, forgotten people in history continue to shape Wyrd simply by virtue of the way their struggles shaped the world of the present day. These core concepts of Wyrd are just the beginning of understanding how this central, essential force shapes life in Nordic pagan practice. If all of reality could be described as an endless song, then Wyrd is the tempo setting the rhythm of existence. I love that line. I can feel it in my body. My heart beating in tune with the rhythms of the tides and the pulsars. I am inextricable from the rest of reality. There is a love holding me, and it is in me and all around me. Many cultures, most notably my Nordic and Celtic ancestors, visualize this as a tree of life made up of a web with roots deep in the earth and branches far in the stars. And they weren't far off. You see, mycorrhizal networks and star nurseries are both made up of diverging and converging strands of matter and energy, weaving webs that imbue the ground beneath us and the heavens above and around us. Perhaps you have heard the term wood wide web. If you haven't, it's a good one. The mycorrhizal networks are the underground fungal threads that connect plants in the soil to each other, and they're underneath us right now, they're out there, they're under there, they're everywhere. And they, through roots, form a symbiotic relationship with plants, giving minerals and water from the soil and receiving carbohydrates the plants produce from photosynthesis. And this relationship goes back to when algae first washed up on land and started trying to adapt to soil instead of just water. The fungi were already in the dirt, and the two partnered together, weaving their threads together into the web of life, combining their individual hamingia into creating a new orlog that today forms the basis of life on Earth. Pretty amazing, huh? The mycorrhizal networks beneath the soil of our planet could stretch from one side of the galaxy to the other if we unfurled them. And they'd find an analogous structure there. In places like the Orion Nebula, high concentrations of gases and the building blocks of life come together in dusty clouds, swirling about and creating dense elemental chains called filaments that are key in star formation. In a very simplified way, visually speaking, they look like branching bolts of lightning that knot themselves together into a star. This is my very simplified, non-physicist way of explaining this. But that is what it looks like, and it's really cool. So from the tiniest fragile threads of fungi to the great cosmic storms of creation, from the ground beneath us to the heavens above and around us, we are supported and surrounded by what I cannot help but think of as the Wyrd Wide Web. And within this web of Wyrd, everything is connected, from the atom to the ant to the atomic physicist to the galaxies and beyond. And at the level of life on Earth, everything is connected. Everyone and everything is important, and no one is solely responsible for saving the world, but every being belongs in it. And perhaps most importantly for our human lives, no matter how bad the orlog or big picture is, our hamingia, or individual will/luck, especially combined, can contribute to changing it. If the mycelia and the algae could combine their hamingia to create forests and gardens and give rise to and feed every other species on Earth, then who are we to say that our actions combined could not change the tide of human history, change an economic system, reverse climate change, stop a genocide? What does it mean if we get to weave reality? If our choices are ours alone, shaped by our orlog but left to our ultimate choosing, we are neither wholly responsible nor absolved of responsibility for this world. I'm a fiber artist. I crochet. I generally use a single thread, but I understand how weaving works. You pull on a thread and it warps the whole weave. You can smooth out the fabric, but it'll always have that little imperfection, that evidence of harm done. Now, put that in the thousands, millions. Apply it to life. Lives lost, pulled too soon from the fabric, violently ripped out, given up. If we put that in human terms, if we put that in species terms, animals, plants, microbes, reality maintains itself. The fabric of space-time goes on, and life goes on here on Earth, nowhere else we know of, at least not like this, although one could certainly argue the aliveness of the cosmos themselves. Still, this little patch of life in the fabric of reality is precious. And though the universe or multiverse might go on without us, do we really want it to? I ask this, I go this deep, this obscure, this macabre, because some among us, and I admit that on my darker days I am one of them, look at the world on fire with weary and cynical eyes and wonder if we shouldn't just let it burn. We aren't just a blight in this universe. But life is a miracle. Those mycorrhizal networks, everything they gave rise to, our little blue-green planet, its chances of existence are so slim. Ours, our human lives, even slimmer. So there's a certain arrogance in that level of nihilism. To say that we might as well not even exist is to say that we have a right to decide for ourselves and this whole planet and future generations of every species on it what is best for the future of life. Life that took billions of years to even have a chance to form right here on this little planet. Life that is warring itself out in various locations. Life that has struggled to exist. Life that has been through multiple mass extinctions and yet persisted. Life that continues somehow to go on in the larger orlog despite the choices in our individual humingas. There is a certain arrogance in the level of nihilism that I myself can be guilty of reaching that says, is it even worth it? When there's so much bad going on in the larger orlog of human existence. And this seems the opposite of virtuous, to decide what should happen for the rest of humanity, or even for my own life, or anyone else's own life. It's an abdication of responsibility, a refusal to participate in the web of which we are a part. We are inescapably tied to the fates of all existence, not just our own species. And I go that deep and that macabre because I know I cannot be the only one who goes there sometimes, especially not in the world as it is right now. I know there must be other people in this room who forget that they are part of the web, who forget how integral your thread is, who forget how integral our human existence, our world's existence is to the thread of to the fabric of reality. And that even though it can seem hopeless at times, it's not. So going back to our reading, Wyrd, in short, places the emphasis on what your actions mean in the here and now and what consequences flow from them. Your main responsibility under Wyrd is considering the ramifications of your deeds and how they will shape the world around you. Even death, which brings a final reward or punishment in many Christian denominations, does not absolve a person of their duty to craft worthy orlog, lend their hamingia to good causes, and give their best to the Wyrd around them. Such choices will echo long after your bones have turned to dust, and all recollection of your deeds are lost. Even in this moment, the actions of those nameless, forgotten people in history continue to shape Wyrd simply by virtue of the way their struggles shaped the world of the present day, including the fact that we're sitting in this room together right now and that this room even exists. The dead are always with us. There is no need to worry about what happens after we die or where we go because we already know. Our thread remains in the fabric. Our descendants learn from our words, cook our recipes, sing our songs, pick up our legacies, tell our stories, smile our smiles, laugh our laughs, pass on things we never knew we gave them. Your Wyrd is needed. So bring it. You are a part of what Dr. Martin Luther King called this inescapable network of mutuality, and by goodness, we need every bit of you in it. All that is cannot be without you because you are part of the all. So you belong here as much as the trees and the stars and the fungi. So get Wyrd and shift some orlog. You are here for such a precious little moment as this, but your thread will keep the fabric together long after you've gone. Blessed be. Our generosity recipient today is a butterfly garden. And somewhere in here I have that information. The Learning Center at Uchi Butterfly Farm helps improve the lives of native people, plants, and pollinators through innovative community-based programs that emphasize capacity building, cultural preservation, and sustainability. Some good Orlog and combinations of Hamingia if I ever heard some. So, please give generously. If you are visiting with us for the very first time, you need only pass the plate. You are our guests and we're glad you're here. May today's offering reflect our highest aspirations for the work of the church in the world. Let us read our offertory response together. We build on foundations we did not lay. We warm ourselves at fires we did not light. We sit in the shade of trees we did not plant. We drink from wells we did not dig. We profit from persons we did not know. We are ever bound in community. And let us sing our closing hymn, number 1001, in the Teal hymnal, Breaths. is one of my favorites, and not the easiest to sing if you haven't heard it before, but I encourage you to keep trying because it's a beautiful song. All right, my friends. Our chalice is extinguished. Please say these words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. In the words of novelist David Mitchell from his book Cloud Atlas, my life amounts to no more than one drop in a limitless ocean. Yet what is any ocean but a multitude of drops? For our benediction today, I'm going to teach you a short song that my pagan practice group sings at the end of our online gatherings. So repeat after me our lyrics. We're going to... I am a part of all that is.
I am a part of all that is.
All that is a part of me.
All that is a part of me.
I belong here into this world.
I belong here into this world.
I belong here, all who I am.
I belong here, all who I am.
Go in peace. I'm going to keep making you sing, but not today. Next time.